What's up, guys? It's Solid Nate, along with Megadan29, Nefarious Wes, JLove81, and NES Addict. And today, we're gonna bring you our top 10 NES platformers. All that and more, next. I'm gonna start things off with a game that I've put a lot of time into lately, and it's called Adventure Island. Adventure Island is a side-scrolling platform game produced by Hudson Soft and released in September 1988 in North America. You control Master Higgins, a chubby, shirtless dude who rides skateboards and throws hammers and fireballs. The story behind the game is that an evil witch doctor has kidnapped Princess Leilani, aka Tina, and Master Higgins must venture to an island in the South Pacific to save her. Master Higgins finds various eggs throughout his quest which provide power-ups. You can find a hammer and fireballs to kill enemies, a honey girl which grants temporary invincibility, a milk which fills up your time meter, skateboards and more, including a negative power-up which is an eggplant. The eggplant rapidly decreases your time meter and you want to avoid that at all costs. Adventure Island is a very hard game. If you get touched by any enemy, you die in one hit. There is no health bar. If you get a skateboard, however, you can actually take one hit before you die. Many people think that the skateboard actually makes the game harder, however, and it's generally recommended to avoid it. One of the most unique aspects of Adventure Island is the time meter. Master Higgins must continuously eat fruits to keep his time meter up. This adds a sense of urgency to the game. There are a total of 8 areas in the game, with 4 levels in each area. At the end of each area is a boss. If you decide to play Adventure Island, be sure to pick up the Hudson Bee in a secret egg at the very end of the first level. This will give you unlimited continues, which will definitely be needed the first time you go through the game. To use the Hudson Bee, you have to hold in the left direction on the D-pad and press start after you get a game over. Good luck. My second pick is a childhood favorite called Tiny Toon Adventures. Tiny Toon Adventures was released in December 1991 in North America. Buster Bunny is the main character in the game, and at the beginning of each world, you can choose another character to bring with you, including Dizzy Devil, who has a tornado attack, Furball, who can climb up walls, and Plucky Duck, who can temporarily fly, making the platforming easier. I have fond memories playing this with my cousins when I was very young. The cartoon animation style and cheerful music was a very intriguing game as a kid, and it's still fun to play today. Alright guys, those were my 2 picks. Now, I'm gonna pass it over to Megadan29 to see what he has to say.
Thanks, Solid Nate. Hey guys, this is Megadan29, and the first of the 2 from my list comes from Capcom. That is Bionic Commando.
Just like most NES games, you are one man versus an army, the Federation, or the Nazis. They have an evil plan called Albatross, in which they are trying to bring Hitler back to life and have world domination. Your army sent in Super Joe from the NES game Commando, and he was caught. Your mission is to save Super Joe and stop the evil plan. This was not a game I owned as a kid for some reason, but it was a constant rental. My brother and I would play this all the time. The reason this game is on the list for me is because it's a different kind of platformer. You have to use your bionic arm to swing to other platforms and get yourself out of all kinds of trouble. You can't jump in this game. You have to depend on your arm to get from ledge to ledge. Sometimes you use your arm to simply go to the ledge above you, and other times you use it to swing your way through tough situations. The only way to beat this game is to master using your bionic arm. This is a must-play in the NES library, and it's one of my favorite games.
I hope you guys enjoyed that. The second one on my list also comes from Capcom, and it is Darkwing Duck. Let's get dangerous.
As titled, you play as none other than Darkwing Duck. You receive a message from the mayor, and he needs your help. There is a crime wave falling across the city, and things are being stolen. It seems to be the work of Fowl, which is a group of villains, being Quackerjack, Wolf Duck, Liquidator, Malardy, Megavolt, Bushroot, and Steelbeak. Can you save St. Canard? Well, the reason I love this platformer is because of the Mega Man type of movement. You need to run and jump out of harm's way often. Also, a very unique move in which you use the B button to grab and hang from different areas and then use it again to grab to other platforms. Mastering this is important if you want to complete this one. I also find this to be fun and nerve-wracking to dodge spikes and reach secret spots within the level. If you enjoy fast-paced running and jumping action, then get ready to get dangerous.
Well, guys, that was the 2 on my list. Now we move on to Nefarious Wes.
Right on, Megadan. Now you can't talk about great platformers on the NES without mentioning a particular Sunsoft game. Batman. Batman on the NES is hands down one of the best platformers on the renowned 8-bit console and unquestionably epitomizes what great platforming is all about. The Caped Crusader is able to traverse the dark streets of Gotham with the help of a nifty wall jump similar to that of Ninja Gaiden. With tricky jumps that force you to think outside of the box in order to ascend higher platforms, Batman cleverly utilizes exceptional level design, which translates into a completely fun and challenging experience, even with a few sections of certain stages that can be exploited to uncover shortcuts.
Contributing to the delinquency of minors.
Yes, Robin, this game often contributed to my homework being ignored, as it took dedication to finally be able to take down the Joker and his cronies. But naturally, the Dark Knight has many tools at his disposal to make the arduous trek to the green-haired goon much more manageable.
Where does he get those wonderful toys?
This game simply kicks ass. Another great NES platformer is where a group of teenagers have to take down the vile Freddy Krueger. That's right, Nightmare on Elm Street, baby. Originally planned as a game where you take on the role of Freddy Krueger in an attempt to hunt down pimply-faced teenagers, Nintendo balked at the idea, and what we got instead was a really fun and challenging platformer. Good call, as this game is fantastic. While yes, the game does adorn that infamous rainbow warning you to stay the hell away, A Nightmare on Elm Street was actually developed by Rare, so you can go ahead and breathe a sigh of relief. In it, you play as a group of teenagers who, reminiscent of the Dream Warriors movie, learn to equip themselves with superpowers in order to vanquish the seemingly immortal incinerated child killer. Bones have to be collected in various types of stages such as abandoned houses, a junkyard, cemetery, and of course, the local high school. The hazards are plentiful and require a lot of jumping onto moving platforms and other tricky maneuvers. Once the sleep meter completely depletes, you are then transported into nightmare mode, where the stage then takes on a dark and evil aesthetic, replacing the creatures from reality with more difficult iterations, eventually leading to a confrontation with Freddy himself. This is when you're able to take advantage of controlling your dreams by assuming the roles of various characters, such as ninjas and sorcerers. The game is very platform heavy, but coupled with some floaty jumping mechanics and slippery controls, A Nightmare on Elm Street is peppered with many instances of platforming bullshit. 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 But hey, it's just part of the game. It gets much worse when playing cooperatively with up to 4 friends. It doesn't diminish the fun factor that is to be had with this one though, as the challenge keeps you motivated to keep coming back for more Freddy hunting. Those are undoubtedly some of the best platformers on the NES, but my girl JLove81 has 2 more to share. Take it away, Jen.
Thanks, Wes. My first favorite platform game on the NES is gonna be Mega Man 2. This game was my first introduction to the series back in the late 80s. It was different than anything I've ever played before. Mega Man 2 continues Mega Man's battle against the evil Dr. Wily. The soundtrack, visuals, and gameplay made it one of the greatest video games of all times. It is a big improvement over the first game, and many say is ranked the best game in the series. It's a platform and action game where you control Mega Man, who has to complete 8 stages, defeating the bosses before facing the evil Dr. Wily. Each robot master features a unique weapon, and after you defeat the bosses, their signature weapon becomes available, which you then have to use on certain bosses. This is the reason why you have to choose the order of the levels wisely. My favorite stage is Bubble Man. Mega Man also receives special items that assist him through these tough levels. This game is definitely on my top 10 favorite NES games, a huge part of my childhood, and I still have a blast playing it today. My second favorite platform game on the NES is Ducktales. This is an action platform game based on the Disney animated TV series. This game is also one of my top 10 favorite NES games of all time. I played this game the very first time it was released in 1989. Being a fan of the series and falling in love with the gameplay and the soundtrack definitely won me over. You control Scrooge McDuck in search of 5 treasures. He uses his cane as a weapon and can bounce on it like a pogo stick, which can attack enemies from above. This is my favorite feature in the game. It has 5 levels, which some have to backtrack to. Once you collect all the treasures, you fight against Dracula Duck and Magica Dispel. Then you face Flintheart Gloamgold. Ducktales has 3 endings based on performance. It even got a remastered version in 2013. Ducktales is colorful, unique, and a whole lot of fun to play. My favorite stage is the moon. The soundtrack to that level was on point. I still play this game and never will grow tired of it. It is that amazing. Well guys, those were my 2 top favorite platform games on the NES. Now I'm gonna pass it on to my buddy NES Addict.
Hey, those were some great picks, Jen. We're going to continue on with some Capcom Disney games, because my first pick is Rescue Rangers. When I was a kid, the first thing I wanted to do when I got off the bus after school was run inside and watch DuckTales, Tailspin, Darkwing Duck, and Rescue Rangers. With such great source material, it's no wonder that Capcom made games for all of these beloved cartoons. Taking control of Chip and Dale respectively, this game can be played by 1 or 2 players. The platforming in this game has you maneuvering past all sorts of household items that create the scale for how small you actually are. But it's not a determining factor of how big of an adventure this is going to be. Capcom did a great job to use all of the main characters in the game. Gadget guides your way. Zipper will make you invincible for several seconds. And Monterey Jack breaks holes in the walls, following his nose to the smell of cheese, and Fat Cat is waiting at the end as the final boss. For my second pick for favorite platforming games, we're going to go with Konami's Monster in My Pocket. Monster in My Pocket was one of the coolest toys to bring to school in the 90s, because you could carry them in your pocket and trade them with your friends on the playground. But never receiving a true cartoon series, when Konami, a Nintendo powerhouse, took this license and made it into a game, they used the source material from the comic books, taking some small creative liberties, changing some of the characters from good to bad monsters. Taking control of either the vampire, which looks like Dracula, or the monster, which looks like Frankenstein's monster, but couldn't be named such due to copyright laws, you make your way through 5 levels leading to a boss rush before the final boss, which, spoiler, isn't the final boss. Much like Rescue Rangers, this game gives you a real sense of your size in comparison to the items you see in the background. Monster in My Pocket is a fun platformer you don't want to miss, and I'm glad Konami got the license to this game instead of a company like LJN. Alright guys, so those were my picks for favorite platformers. Let's pass it back to Solid Nate.
Thanks, NES Addict. Well, everyone, that was our top 10 NES platformers. Please let us know what your favorites are in the comments below. And if you liked the video, please share, subscribe, like, comment, and until next time, take care.